What's going on, everybody? I'm Jerry. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great day. Eat lots of turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, all that good stuff. It's going to be a great day. A lot of football today, Thursday, if you're watching it today. And if you're watching this later, we've got a lot of football this weekend. We got no bye weeks. So it's going to be a good week of football. A lot of close games, it looks like. A lot of close matchup, making it very tough to make these picks. So let's get right into it with these picks. Starting off, we have the game a little bit this afternoon. Packers Lions. I picked the Packers to cover on this one. I feel like 7.5 is way too much for the Lions, who have been only really winning close games recently. So the Lions started off really hot, and they've still been hot because they've been winning games. But close game against the Bears. I can't remember the other, but there's been a lot of closer games recently. So I think 7.5 is too generous. Packers coming off a win. Yeah, it's going to be tougher to go into Detroit and win it, but I'm taking the Packers in this one. I think 7.5 is just too much. Cowboys. Lions win 24-17. Next one we have Cowboys Commanders. I think the Cowboys are just going to force so many turnovers. I think probably 4 or 5 turnovers in this game that the Cowboys force, with the Commanders giving it away 6 times last week to the Giants. I'm sure there's emphasis on not turning the ball over, but it's something Sam Howell does. He throws for a lot of yards every week. It's because he throws the ball a lot of times. Also throws a lot of interceptions, and the team turns the ball over. But I think they will still put up offense. I think they'll still put up some points. I think it'll be more garbage time. I think you could see a score like maybe 31 to like 3 or 7, and then maybe Commanders get some garbage time points. But I'm taking the Commanders minus 12.5, beating the Commanders 38 to 17. 49ers Seahawks. This one was tough for me because this is another one where you go, well, you just said 7 points is a lot of points, but the Seahawks have looked bad. I think the 49ers are going to get good pressure on the Seahawks in this game. I think they're going to force some turnovers. Geno Smith has been really good, clean, holding onto the ball, and just been a lot more safer with it. I think that's the reason they lose, is because he's going to probably try to do that again. I think the 49ers are just going to generate some turnovers. And I don't see how they stop the defense. They have some good DBs over there. That is not even a question. But they don't have enough. There's too much going on over there. Yes, they still have Bobby Wagner. I just don't think it's going to be enough to stop the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. We talk about it every week. Brock Purdy's coming off a perfect game. Yes, you have to go into Seattle. That 12th man maybe doing something this game. But I think I might be a little off. Like, I'm thinking like 31-21. It seems like a lot, but 49ers are on their high horse right now off of that win. I think this is fair. 31-21. I think the 49ers put up points regardless. I just don't think the Seahawks can keep up, and I think that results in the 49ers winning 31-21, covering that 7-point spread. Away too is crazy. That means they're judging it at a 10-point spread. But Dolphins Jets. Jets have been a mess. They got Tim Boyle, so I think the Jets defense is really good, and the Dolphins have not been putting up 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 points like they were early on. So I think 24 is fair, especially against the Jets. I didn't want it to be too much, but I don't think the Jets can generate offense. I would love to see, like, early on, maybe I think they say like the first 15 plays are drawn up and set in stone to where they pretty much don't change. I wonder if the Jets could do well. Maybe they get early score, but I don't think the Jets can keep up. And I think 9.5, oddly enough, is just too close. I think the reason it's 9.5 is because the Jets defense is good, and the matchups are pretty good against the Dolphins. Sauce Gardner, I don't think he can keep up with Tyreek Hill. So as good of a corner as he is, Tyreek Hill is just too fast for that defense. I think he's going to have a great game. I think the running backs get back involved a little bit more. I think Raheem Mostert probably has a good week. But we'll see what happens. The Jets are pretty good in the run defense, so we'll see what happens. But I got to go with the Dolphins. 9.5 seems like honestly a little low. I think, again, it's probably just because of that defense. So I'm taking the Dolphins in that one. Steelers-Bengals. Steelers can't produce offense. I personally think at this point Mitch Trubisky or Mason Rudolph should start. I know the whole idea is to develop Kenny Pickett, and you're 6-4 right now, but geez, I mean Mitch Trubisky isn't that old. Mason Rudolph isn't that old. What would be wrong with going with them at your quarterback? I don't think Kenny Pickett can do it. The only thing he's really improved on this year is not turning the ball over as much, and that's only been in like these past couple weeks. Jake Browning over there, I liked what I saw from him, and I think he can keep the game close, especially against the Steelers where their offense can't do much and they're kind of relying on their defense. I think, oddly enough, I think Jake Browning could offer like a little bit of a mobile thing going on. I think he's more mobile than Joe Burrow, which, I don't think he's this like dual threat, like crazy mobile quarterback, but he did do pretty well on the run on some of the runs that, Joe Burrow was doing as well. Jake Browning, he executed well. So I think that could be like a little bit of an extra threat to the Steelers. Maybe they don't plan for, maybe they do. Either way, I think the Steelers are going to get after him. I think they're going to put pressure on him, and I think they're going to keep the score low in this game. Both offenses, especially with Jake Browning being in, I don't think you can really expect too much. So I'm taking the Steelers over the Bengals, 17-13, covering the measly 1.5 point spread. A lot of 1.5 point spreads with all these close games. This one seemed a little close to me. I went back and forth on it, though, because I was like, well, the Texans underdogs at home, but I think there's just too many weapons on the Jaguars for the Texans to stop. You got Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones is back. Travis Etienne had an off week. I think he's due for a good week this week. Going to be tough against the DeMeco Ryans defense. CJ Stroud's also been slinging it. But even though he got like 350 yards last week, he put up 21 points. And it was a close game against the Cardinals where it kind of came down to the final minutes. And the Jaguars are a much better football team than the Cardinals. And you can't just go based off the last week. Obviously, the Texans have found ways to win games. But I think this is going to be the one wake-up call. We finally see that Stroud can throw picks. So I'm sure he'll try to do that. Maybe he'll get a little bit more conservative with his passing. We'll see what happens. Devin Singletary's been going off too, despite I think Damon Pierce, it sounds like he's going to be active this week. But I had to take the Jaguars on this. I just think they're the more well-rounded football team. I think the Texans are actually kind of like a Jaguars light, where you've got a good quarterback, you've got some good weapons, but Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is, we know he's a good tight end, and he's done it with he did it with the Cowboys for years. But like, this has been like a breakout season for Nico Collins and Tank Dell, which is very impressive with a rookie quarterback, rookie coaching staff. So I think the Texans are just Jaguars light. I hope I get proven wrong, because I'm on the Texans bandwagon a little bit this year. I love to see the underdog do well. I was a big fan of DeMeco Ryans back in the day, and the fact that he's having success coaching, CJ Stroud being a good quarterback. I just love an underdog story, so I love what the Texans are doing. I just think the Jaguars are on another level despite playing a lot of close games this year against teams that they shouldn't have been. I'm still taking the Jaguars 27-24. It's just too close of a spread for me, but I guess either it could go either way. This is another one, -2.5 for the Colts. I think the Colts are definitely the better team, but I think there's a chance the Buccaneers could win, especially with this losing streak. Or I don't know if it's a streak at this point. Maybe I'm thinking of that wrong. But the Buccaneers have been losing games as I expected them to. And came off a week against the 49ers where you only lose by 13 points to a team like the 49ers. Colts had coming off a bye week at home, so I can't see them not winning. And it seems dumb to have a team cover, and you have to be like super correct. I'm pretty confident the Colts are going to win this game, but knowing that the Buccaneers probably want to get a win after just losing over and over. They started off 3-1, and now they're 4-6, I want to say. So I feel like they could win, and this is a winnable game for the Buccaneers too. We got to keep that. Got to keep that in mind. I think Rachaad White will do well out of the backfield. Probably not as well in the running game. Probably just what he's been doing. Little short routes out of the backfield. I think he'll do well, but I'm taking the Colts 21-20. Bold prediction, but I couldn't really pick this game. This was another one where it was really tough. Divisional game, very important. Falcons are at home, looking for a win, playing questionable football, quarterback carousel between Heineke and Ritter. Ritter's been deemed the starter for the rest of the year, which I don't love because I don't think he's significantly better than Heineke, but you know, I I think probably would have been good for them to go out and get a quarterback. I guess there's probably no reason to because then you're taking away a roster spot, and are you going to make a playoff run? I mean, they're only a game. Well, depending on this game, they'll be a game or a game and a half behind. Or I guess it'd be even or a game and a half behind the Saints in this one. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think the Saints will win. They came off a bye week as well. So Saints taking this one down 24-20. I don't think the offense is going to be able to produce enough. I think they're going to need Bijan to go off, and I hope Arthur Smith can realize that. And then the Saints, I think the Saints are going to be able to drive down the field against the Falcons, and if they make sure to use Taysom Hill in the red zone, I think I would argue that Taysom Hill is the biggest red zone threat in the NFL. I mean, call it a crazy statement, but his ability to throw, pass, run, catch in the red zone takes that short field just to another level where like you literally don't know what he can do because he can throw the ball fairly well. Although they don't really do that. You have to worry about that threat, and he runs like a power back, but he can catch too. So I think they really need to use. I mean, I really think he's probably one of the biggest red zone threats. I mean, obviously like the tush push with Jalen Hurts, and like Jalen Hurts could probably be considered one of the biggest red zone threats. Just feels like Eagles get in the red zone, they're probably getting in the end zone. But Taysom Hill is up there, if not number one. Comment down below if you think differently or you think that's a crazy take. But I think Taysom Hill is the biggest red zone threat. That's why I think the Saints are winning 24-20. Away too, a lot of away covers. I don't know if you noticed that, but I'm picking the away team to cover in almost all these games except for this game. Giants on their high horse right now after a win. I just don't know what to think because the Patriots just seem to stink, and it seems wrong to have them win. I think if they play Bailey Zappi in this game, I think the Giants don't know how to. I think they've. I don't. You'd hope that they've been preparing for Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, but I think in this game, if Bailey Zappi starts, I think you probably get this like 20-17 score. Mac Jones, I mean, although he's struggled, not been great this season, I still think that he's like definitely capable of being a starting quarterback in the league. To where if the Giants have another off week, Tommy DeVito, I feel like he got lucky that he was able to produce offense because of all the defense's turnovers. And I definitely think the defense can force turnovers in this game too. But for some reason, I just think the Patriots are winning. Especially off a bye. They're off a bye as well. And then the Giants, I really think they could win this game. So being plus 3.5 at home, it just seemed right. So I'm taking the Giants plus 3.5, but the Patriots winning 20-17. Next we have the Panthers Titans. This one I really wanted to put the Panthers winning. This seems like a winnable Panthers game. The Titans have been absolutely screwed. Like, Derrick Henry hasn't been playing well. I think Derrick Henry has a pretty good game, and that's why I still have them winning. I think Derrick Henry carries this game. I could see like 120 yards from him, probably at least one of the touchdowns, maybe even 2 touchdowns. Obviously, with this score, I either have him missing an extra point or getting 2 field goals. But I think the Panthers are able to produce offense, even though Bryce Young has 0 time to get the ball out, and he basically just chucks it to Adam Thielen on quick passes. I think they could do something here. Chuba Hubbard, I think, could have an okay game, but the Titans' run defense is good, so that's going to be tough there too. And that's kind of why I have the Titans winning too. Is we talk about the running game. I measure it every week, like how often the better running team wins, and so often it's the better running team wins. It's like right now, I think the success rate, we'll see it in a little bit, but it's like 70% of the time the team that runs the ball better wins. But the teams that you don't bet against for that is the Titans, Falcons, and Bears. But against the worst team in the league, I think it's still enough. So I'm taking the Titans, but -4 seems like too much for the Titans who have been struggling. So I'm taking the Panthers to cover. And I truly think that the Panthers could win this game, which would not help the Bears draft pick as a Bears fan, but that's okay. Rams, Cardinals. I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on what to do with this one because the Cardinals were able to force turnovers against C.J. Stroud, who doesn't typically throw interceptions. And Matt Stafford does typically throw interceptions. But he also has Cooper Kupp probably coming back, and Puka Nacua is due for a good week. I think they could play well. Kyren Williams also might be coming back. I don't know if that really changes the game by any means, especially with Royce Freeman having just an average week, doing what he needed to do last week. So I just think the offense, the Rams offense is due for a high scoring week, although the Cardinals held the Texans to 21 points, who have been playing well on offense. It just seems like the Rams getting a point and a half just seemed odd to me. Aaron Donald's going to be coming after Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray can scramble, but I don't know if he can do it well enough. I'm taking the Rams away, but I'm taking them to win, and obviously covering 27-24 just seemed right. Browns Broncos, this upset of the week is kind of what I got here. Riding that Broncos high horse because they played great football. They've been finding ways to win games. And I think it could be the same thing. You got a backup quarterback in. 28 points. I put this score in and I went 28. The Broncos are going to score 28 points against the Browns defense. But I went with my gut. This seems wrong. I will straight up tell you right now, if you are honestly trying to pick for this game, I would not. If you're betting, don't bet on this game because I think unless you want to bet some unders, I think my prediction is way off here. But it seems like every week I have one game where I am just completely off, and I'm kind of taking a gamble that this is going to be a shootout because Russ last week, he was getting pressured a lot by the Vikings defense, but he was navigating the pocket really well and finding ways to make plays. And I think if he can do that again this week against the Browns, who are going to get pressure, I think that leaves them a reason that they could win the game. It's at Mile High, so you've got that going for you. 28-27 seems way too high to be a Browns game score, though. I mean, realistically, I think I would have been better off doing like 17-16 if I was going to pick a 1-point game. I really didn't want to do a 1-point difference, especially because the Broncos did that last week. I'd like to see the stat for how many teams have had a 1-point win in back-to-back weeks. It probably never happens, so my pick's probably wrong. But I'm very on the fence about who's going to win this game. So I think my score prediction is ridiculous here. I think now that I'm looking at it, like 13-14, 17-16 probably would have been a better thing to do. The Browns are just finding ways to win games, but so are the Broncos. I don't know how that's going to end. That's why we get the 27-28 score. It was way too high. Do not bet that over. I don't even know what the over is. Maybe I should throw that in there, but I think looking at that right now, I really think I screwed that up. But there's one that I screw up every week, so maybe that's the one. Maybe we're factoring that in and judging it out there. Chiefs Raiders. The receivers on the Chiefs can't catch the ball, so I don't think they're putting up a bunch of points like they normally do. The Raiders defense still does just consist of Max Crosby and then a lot of other pieces that sometimes will make some plays. I don't think it's going to be enough. Last week the Chiefs scored 17. I think they get another touchdown on that, even though it's Raiders defense versus Eagles defense. Eagles defense has been underperforming, so if we're just going based off of last week, Chiefs are going into Vegas too, so maybe they'll party a little too hard on a Thanksgiving weekend. Who knows? 8.5. It's a lot of points, and the Raiders have been able to stay in games, but it's the Raiders and it's the Chiefs. It's Aiden O'Connell. It's Patrick Mahomes. You can figure out why I would have picked the Chiefs to cover this one. Beating the Raiders 24-13. Can't really argue with that. Bills Eagles. This one's tough. I think Josh Allen's going to turn the ball over more. The Eagles are going to win the turnover battle, and that's why they're going to win the game. I think the Bills' offense is going to look good. They're going to put up points against that Eagles defense. I also think the Eagles are going to look good. The Bills, unfortunately, it's a whole season, but still missing Trey White and Matt Milano. I think the run game, I think DeAndre Swift's going to have a good game. I think you could even see a couple nice rushes from Jalen Hurts. My fun bet that I usually pick every week, or I'll throw into a parlay, is Jalen Hurts alternate rushing yards at plus 25 or over 25 rushing yards, because the line is usually like minus like 150, 200, 250, and he usually hits it. So I would run that in this game, especially against a still pretty weak Bills um, linebacking core. Mainly just because they're missing Matt Milano. But I got to have the Eagles winning, covering the spread. I think it could be a close game, though. That's why we do the 24-28, because I see the Eagles covering. Bills very well could win this game. It could be a surprise game for the Eagles. It's also in Philly. Philly fans are ruthless. So I'm taking the Eagles 28-24 in this particular game. Ravens-Chargers, line seems way too close. Plus 3.5. Chargers don't really have their own home stadium. That SoFi is really not an advantage for the Chargers or the Rams. So the fact that it's only plus 3.5 is kind of mind-boggling to me. I guess probably because the Chargers do typically stay close in games, but the Ravens are just so good all around this year. Brandon Staley's defense struggles big time, and Justin Herbert does well on offense but can never do enough. So we have a score of 31-24. I think probably part of that reason is because Mark Andrews is out, but you have to remember, Isaiah Likely played well when Andrews was out in previous years. So I think Isaiah Likely is going to be able to fill in pretty well. I don't think he's going to be Mark Andrews, but I think he's going to do enough to where the spread should not be plus 3.5 in this particular game. So I'm taking the Ravens 31-24, covering that measly little spread. Next we have Bears-Vikings. I actually had this one, Bears 20, Vikings 23, with them covering the spread right before I started recording the video, and I was like, who the hell am I thinking? The Bears are going to cover against the Vikings? No way. So it's in Minnesota. It's Monday night. It's not Monday night Kirk. It's Monday night Josh Dobbs. So I think he's going to be able to get the job done. He does well in prime time, and that's why I ultimately had them taking it. I think the Bears will be better with Justin Fields than they were with Tyson Bagent. But we have to remember, in the first game in Chicago, the Vikings had Fields' number and ended up they were getting after him. He didn't know what to do, and I don't think they would have won last week if Fields got injured. So I don't think the Bears are winning this week. I'm sure he wants a little revenge. It would be great for him to take care of it at home, but I don't think it's a winnable game for him. So taking the Vikings to win 23-17, covering that 3.5 point spread. Last minute, changing my decision. I just think it's got to be right. If you watched the takeaways video, accidentally threw this in the takeaways video, but that's okay. All-time record's 92-71. I'm not proud of it. I need to do better. Better rushing team, as we talked about, is about 67%, I believe, is the percentage on that the better rushing team is winning. And then against the spread, not doing too great either, 76-87. This is my first year of doing this and keep track of everything, so I would only assume as time goes on I'll get better, although this season it has not. Started 8-8. 10-6, 10-6, 9-7. Then it goes downhill. Then I have a decent week. Now I've been pretty much even. So I made some bold predictions this week, and there's a lot of close spreads, so it's not a good one, but there is a lot of games, so a lot of opportunity, and hopefully I can improve that record. But thank you for watching the video. As I die, like, comment, subscribe, enjoy some turkey, happy Thanksgiving, and have a great day.